So let's go back to the US, start there, because the shockwaves after the killing of the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, they continue. President Trump said he was filled with grief and anger and called the assassination a dark moment for America. Our correspondent Neda Tawfik has this from Utah.
Charlie Kirk reinvigorated the conservative youth movement, taking his controversial political views right to campuses. In his last moments, he was on stage at Utah Valley University, where his Prove Me Wrong style debate with students had just begun.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
In the middle of an exchange, a single gunshot fired from 200 yards away cut short his answer and his life. Amidst the chaos and panic, the 31-year-old was taken by his private security to hospital, where he was later pronounced dead.
I was watching from pretty close up, and I heard a pop, and I thought, no, that nobody's shooting firecrackers, right? This is the middle of the day. And then I watched a fountain of blood come out of the side of his neck like a water fountain.
Officials are still looking for the suspect, someone they believe fired from a nearby roof and was dressed in dark clothing. Utah's governor called the killing a political assassination.
You know, someone like Charlie Kirk, who's obviously a very positive voice, come to our college and have this happen. It's horrific. It's just such a deep, black, evil spot, to deal with, and a lot of our residents are just not okay.
In the immediate aftermath, politicians from both sides of the aisle, including all former living presidents, stressed that disagreements could not be resolved through violence. But not long after, familiar division. On the U.S. House floor, Republicans and Democrats clashed after a moment of silence for the husband and father of two young children, who was loved by some and loathed by others. And an angry President Trump, calling his ally a martyr, blamed the, quote, radical left for his death, citing other attacks against conservatives while leaving out recent violence against Democrats.
This is a dark moment for America. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come.
The White House has ordered flags lowered to half-staff for Charlie Kirk, who started Turning Point USA at just 18 years old to promote conservative Christian values on campuses. The activist and podcaster became one of the most influential MAGA voices, credited with mobilizing the youth vote in 2024 for President Donald Trump. It made him a global figure. In May, Charlie Kirk even traveled to Britain and spoke at the Oxford Union Debating Society. Keir Starmer called his death heartbreaking. We must all be free to debate openly and freely without fear, he added. Here in Orem, the immediate priority, of course, has been finding the suspect and holding them accountable. At the same time, this latest shocking episode of political violence has many asking, is the country headed for even deeper and more dangerous division? Neda Tawfik, BBC News in Orem, Utah.
Well, there have been significant developments in the investigation in the last hour. There was a press conference, Utah's Public Safety Commissioner giving details about the investigation and saying they had made breakthroughs.
We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads.
Well, at the same press conference, FBI special agents in charge of this investigation said they have images now of the shooter and that a weapon had been recovered.
This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated.
Well, that was the latest from the FBI. As I say, significant developments there in the investigation. I just want to point you to the website, the live page, because that has all the latest developments. And that was fascinating, that news conference. We learned so many new details, that they'd managed to identify a suspect. They think of college age. They have recovered already the automatic weapon from the scene. And there, in that news conference, they said they had video footage of the suspect. They weren't releasing it yet, but said they might at some stage release it to the wider public. So very clearly, they have leads, they have a suspect, and those searches continue. They started in the woods nearby, but they continue in the nearby communities. So that, the latest detail. We'll be live in Utah talking to our CBS colleague here on the programme in a couple of minutes' time.